Hi, I'm Megan Boone, and I'm going to be sharing my e-portfolio with you. So the very first thing is the candidate info. And as you can see, I have my professional goals and personal goals listed. My professional goals are that in 2 years that I will be able to obtain a master's degree in instructional technology and obtain a job as an instructional coach for a district's elementary department. As well as 5 years from now, I would like to be a curriculum director with an emphasis in technology within a school district. And then lastly, 10 years from now, I plan to obtain a doctoral degree in higher education. Then, as you will see over here on my personal goals, 2 years from now, my husband and I plan to hopefully build or buy our dream house. In 5 years, I would like to have all my student loans paid off, as well as in 10 years, we would like to have all of our children in school and thriving. And so that's just a little bit about me. Throughout this program, I have worked with basically my technology philosophy. And so I believe that there's only one constant in life, education, and technology, and that's change. And so with that, throughout time, there seems to be this need for application for real world situations. And so with that, throughout my technology philosophy is that we need to increase creativity and activity to motivate students, as well as implement the role of an active learner. And then we need to focus on communication with the digital world and digital citizenship with 21st century learners. Next is my resume. So as you will see here, my resume currently says that I'm a teaching professional. So I graduated from Northwestern Oklahoma State with a degree in elementary education in 2013. I am currently in the MIT program for Fort Hays State. I hold 3 certifications in 3 different states: Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas. I have also taught in Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas in all different grades. I started out in a 4th grade self-contained classroom. And then I went to a 2nd grade self-contained classroom that had one-to-one iPads, as well as I have taught junior high science and problem solving in PE. That we also had one-to-one iPads and used a learning management system called Canvas. Currently, I am a staffing specialist for Morgan Hunter Education Services in the Kansas City metro area, where I substitute staff for Kansas City, Kansas USD 500, all of their substitutes. And so with that, it goes into my activity evidence, which feeding off of what I currently do, I made a professional development plan that I found rather challenging because this is my first year out of the classroom. This fall, I am in my practicum with finishing up, and then this spring I'll be having a baby. And so I knew that I couldn't give my students 100% this year, so I decided to take a year off. And so my professional development revolves around what I currently do as a substitute staffing specialist for Morgan Hunter. And so throughout this plan, my purpose is to aid substitute teachers in the transitional process of learning, applying, and evaluating technological issues pertaining to 21st century learners. And so basically when a substitute teacher goes in the classroom, a lot of times they are not trained unless they have an education degree. And so my job is to train them in our company. We have different days of the week where they come and attend a class. I teach them all about the different technology issues that they may face, as well as just some instructional coaching regarding implementation, assessment, and reassessment. As you see right here, this is some educator feedback so that I can show my students who are substitutes that they can move forward in the process, or they need a little remediation with some coaching. My contact information is here, as well as my rationale, just explaining how substitute teachers play a major part in the educational system, and any downtime is an issue when the teacher's gone. And so we want adequate subs to be in the classroom that can promote learning instead of hinder it. And so with that, I also talk about how Kansas uses the KITE system and for state testing. Currently, 65 of my subs are filling vacancies, meaning they are a teacher. within this school district. And so one of the things that I have to do is I have to strive in all areas besides just technology, is I have to have them be able to complete instruction in all areas and able to enhance the educational system. And so this requires a lot of training and coaching. So throughout my professional development plan, I do talk about what districts expect of me, what I expect of my substitutes, how we use an absence management system called ASOP, what background training that they will need, as well as what resources that they can be provided on a daily basis. And so this took a lot of time and effort for me, as, like I said, I had been a previous educator, and working with more of an adult learning environment is a lot more challenging, as well as with I work with a lot of HR departments and administrators, so it can be very challenging. So here's basically my assessments and how my weeks go. There are different times with my objectives, standards, responsibilities, one-on-one devices. We talk about the blended versus flipped classroom models. We have Lawrence School District, who is with us in MHED, and they have 400 classrooms that use the blended classroom model. So we do talk about that and what teachers will see, as well as at the end, here are my standards that follow this professional development plan. So I did my 3 article summaries. The first summary is how effective integration of technology into schools and curriculum. I believe it's super, super important for 21st century learners to have an integration of technology into the classroom. One of the things that I strive to teach all of my students and my substitutes is that to promote lifelong learning, and that's really hard to do if you do not have technology implemented into the classroom, as everyone now is using iPhones, iPads, that sort of thing. A lot of school districts that I work with have one-to-one iPad initiative, or they have bring your own device. So that is what the first article summary is regarding. Article summary number 2 is basically event-based frameworks with university and school district technology professional development partnerships. One of the things that I see as a staffing specialist with MHED is that school districts don't revolve a lot of their professional development around technology, and if they do, it's not really the best effective ways to do that. And so I am also a resource that I am able to help provide that technological support to those school districts that are in need. And so this is basically an article summary that talks about school funding, political, social, economical, all of those things, the different climates and how they play an effect, as well as the different states that are having issues. Partnering school districts that can kind of partner together are beneficial because they can share that the technology resources. When I taught 2nd grade in a small school in Missouri, we partnered with a whole co-op of different schools so that we could all have the same training, but it was very informative because we all had one-to-one iPad initiative. Lastly, my 3rd article is over digital citizenship for educational change. I would say one of my platforms over the part of during my educational research was talking about digital citizenship. And last year I taught junior high problem solving, and that was one of the things that I saw a need for, is that students did not understand digital citizenship, how their digital footprint affected the world, what was seen on social media, what was seen in the media. And so, like, currently, this article talks about how digital citizenship is super important for a student's future. So it talks about how, high school students, when they are applying for applications for college, as well as scholarships, that they can that they need to review what they've put on social media and that sort of thing, because that's how people look up their information. So with those 3, I found a need for my presentations they're really about my life currently. So the first one is my ASOP, which is an absence management system. It's my administrator teacher training. This is basically the PowerPoint that I would show my administrators and teachers so that they are aware. Next is a Prezi And oh, the first one was a Google slide, sorry. Next one is a Prezi. It's what my substitute teacher training has. It basically, this is going to redirect, so take a second. This basically shows what my presentation would look like. And so it's just a roadmap where you click it and you continue to go through it. And then lastly, on my presentations, I did a Powtoon, which is blended versus the flipped classroom models, so that I can show my substitutes the difference between what some models of our different school districts would use. The videos that I provided of training are of my peers with social media. I did teach them about social media, the do's and don'ts that I see in school districts, as well as with my students or my substitutes. Once again, this is me teaching that blended versus flipped classroom model. And then lastly is administrators with me teaching absence management system, ASOP, so that they are aware of how we function in the MHED program. My extra resources that I have provided are different YouTube videos, such as social media guidelines for teachers, blended learning in the future of education, technology in inner city schools. I work with a lot of inner city schools, so that's very important to me. Online articles, technology education myths. This one really helps to debunk myths that educators have a perspective of. Social media made simple, meaning how can you use social media in the classroom for different forms. And then 10 things your students should know about digital footprinting, what I just talked to you about regarding digital citizenship and how to watch the emerging trends. Professional development plans. I've linked 3 districts with professional development plans that have great professional development plans to help their teachers engage in all of the things that are needed for not just teachers, but administrators, coaches, those sort of things, for district guidelines, as well as state standards that would help with data-driven results. And then lastly, I have my final reflection. I talked about my final reflection, some of my undergrad, and how I had these different misconceptions of what graduate school would be like, and that I was only going to take educational classes. I was not going to focus on my craft as an educator, and that was very untrue, as I do focus on that a lot, as well as the aspects of incorporating technology into the classroom via learning management systems, absence management systems, and basically to promote change. And I wanted, as I reflected upon this final reflection of my graduate program, I did talk about some courses that were very important to me, such as instructional technology, multimedia applications, instructional design, and how I've been able to truly master my craft as an educator, both with students as well as adult learners. And I believe in keeping homeostasis in the classroom while you implement new designs. And so that even though you're implementing new teaching strategies, it really does help students with the promotion of becoming a lifelong learner. And so with that, I believe in authentic learning and validity, showing students that they are able to know that their learning is real world applicable and authentic. And so with that, I just wanted to state that I've had a great master's program that I've completed at Fort Hays State with very great professors who have always been there for any feedback, any guidance, any questions that I may have, and I truly support them, and I would recommend Fort Hays as well as the MIT program to anyone that would be wanting to master their craft as an educator. I'm Megan Boone, and I just wanted to thank you for watching my final reflection.